Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. I'm Inquisitor Temperance Price, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is my report on the Valentyne Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesis adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Tom McGee and players Ryan LaPlante as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Tyler Hewitt as Attikus Viz, Del Borovic as Morgan Rolls, and Josh Halbot as Gideon Vega. My report shows that the Inquisitorial band are entering a drukhari citadel. Valentyne challenged Gideon to find a purpose beyond survival. Morgan promised Attikus she would never lie to him again, and Attikus swore his loyalty to the interrogator unto death. But can these heroes find allies among the drukhari and survive a battle with enemy witches? Find out next in this episode of the Valentyne Heresy.
He's not a particularly good person, not necessarily a smart person, perhaps not an inventive person, but he does have access to the back door of Mars, so we'll be dealing with Davos on his terms. Drukhari to his cabal. You've been ushered into the Cabal of the Bloody Sands manufacturing facility, where Davos Malantura, the archon of this cabal, holds court currently, having been exiled from his citadel due to a war of succession with his son Sileus. The Supreme Overlord Vecht has ordered that until this issue is resolved, the Malantura assets are under lock and key. This kind of bullshit is very common in drukhari society because since everyone feeds off negative emotion and need to keep our friend She Who Thirsts Laneesh at bay, it's vitally important not just to... It's kind of like ancient Rome, but instead of just providing breads and circuses to keep everyone, amused, you also have to keep a steady stream of violence and suffering, or else, an elder god shows up and eats your world. So the Malantura family is split, as is the Cabal, which is very good for Vecht, and the drukhari in general is very bad for both Davos and, unfortunately, for all of you. You've come to Camorra, the Dark City, deep in the Immaterium, in order to find transportation into the heart of the Imperium, Mars. Drukhari, the Eldar member of the Confederacy of Conspirators that you've been tracking, now lives in a compass and a soulstone. He's now a tool to be wielded, and he has given you the information that the contact you're seeking here is this archon. You've learned that the archon and his son are basically going to decide who gets to win back the house where the gate is located through an arena match between two cults of witches. Having placed Jeffrey as a bet, you made your way through the streets, having a few sort of key conversations with each other in one of the last sort of downtime moments you're likely to have here on Camorra. Before arriving at the facility that manufactures a lot of the gear and mechanics of the arenas themselves. The Malantura cabal made their drukhari space money on building the arenas, and given that the witch fights are so popular, there is a thriving industry there indeed. So you approached the building, and Gideon used his psycho abilities to sort of suss the place out. You saw the corrupted, blackened souls of the drukhari who have been slowly siphoning their essence into dark deeds in order to stave off Slaanesh and the fate that awaits them. However, you did see a burning bright light inside. So you've given everyone the heads up about that. Between Valentyne and Trin, you managed to talk your way through on the promise that you will defeat the Cult of the Jaded Blade on behalf of Davos. Basically the other group of witches that his son is supporting and sponsoring. He's the patron of that cult. But as Valentyne said, you love bargaining with things you wanted to do anyway, so you're feeling good about it. The doors have opened, and you are striding into the building. You recognize the manufacturing factory, basically. It's different than a Mechanicus space, but you can think of this as the administrative building that is attached to a large manufacturing facility. So you have a lot of that, despite it being all very like deadly and everything has bladed edges and everything else. It feels like the front lobby of just any industrial park building that you've been in. The tile is a crimson marble, and the front desk has like spiked edges and curling blades and everything else. But there is you see a Tau citizen sitting behind, shackled, sitting at the desk. Blue skin, red eyes, kind of no nose, little sort of thin mouth. Looks really roughed up. But the roughed up is healed, and clearly in eternal service to the Cabal. He wears just a very basic jumpsuit with the bloodied sand insignia on it. It's one size too big for him and has clearly been worn several times before he inherited it. And he's got a voice code translator strapped around his throat. You've seen a lot of these since you've arrived, given that Camorra was originally a port city, and it still maintains that sense of being a nexus point. And Xenos from around the galaxy, not just the ones who have armies and models, come here, as well as humans seeking their fortune or having been enslaved and brought here. And as a result, there is a lot of need for translation, and that is certainly true here as well. You notice a couple of Cabalite soldiers as well who are sort of standing by. Again, he knows his son is he's at war with his son, so this place is functional but also on high alert. But much like many crime bosses, he's run into the issue of wars are costly, and the people who only are loyal to you because of the services or money you're able to provide, or the status, or even in his case, the status in Camorran society, require him to keep everything operational while being at war. So you can hear the factory in the distance. You can see people coming and going. It does feel somewhat odd to see people walk by with clipboards doing like Aaron Sorkin walk and talks. But again, he's got a business to run. And though a lot of these people do look like they have been taken from other worlds, they're busy at work as you're kind of brought in. The Tau man behind the desk looks up as you come in, and kind of seeing that you're Terran, his eyes narrow a little bit in confusion, but then he adjusts his voice box until he can hit Gothic, and says, "Greetings. The guards let you in. You have business?"
I'm Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, here with the Soul Stone of Drukhari. I'm looking to speak to Archon Davos Malentura.
Very good. And the guards kind of leans out the door and says, the guards let you in?
Yes. I'm incredibly good at homicide, and currently I am looking to support Davos.
Ah, that makes more sense. Thank you for clarifying that. If you could follow me. And he turns a key, and you hear just a massive link of chain hit the ground, just like a coiling pile of chain. And he starts walking and gestures to you to follow him down the hall. And you can see he's still chained to the desk, but the chain is just very long enough for him to get wherever he needs to go within the building. So he leads you down past several offices where you can see diagrams set up, little maquettes and things built to kind of show different arenas. And some of these arenas are incredible. You see ones with like elevated platforms, like crystalline elevated platforms. You see all manner of, for lack of a better term, like battle bot arenas, where it's just all sorts of like mechanisms being tested and designed. And again, you're seeing like a variety of people. It's strange to see folks who've clearly been like abducted working, but again, like what else are they going to do? So there's a lot of folks from different corners of the galaxy. You're led to the back, and kind of he uses a handprint identifier, scans it, opens the door. Several more guards with guns, and you're led to an elevator, and he says, "I'm afraid I have to leave you here, but you will find the Archon upstairs. I would recommend you state your case as plainly as you did to me. He does not take kindly to his time being wasted."
Appreciate it. Goodbye.
But doors are closed. So a guard steps into the elevator with you because no one's letting you just like fuck off around here. Elevator ascends, doors open. and you're immediately hit by horrifically chemically scented air. This is very much the Axe body spray equivalent of an air freshener, where it's just a chemical attempt at something floral, but that is radically off base in terms of being pleasant. You're not sure if that's just for the drukhari biology or if it's just off. But this feels very much, you can tell this is the equivalent of a plush room for the drukhari. So there are video screens kind of showing the operations on the floor that are showing all the various corners of the building outside. There's a big central sort of half-moon desk that the archon is slumped over, kind of with fingers steepled, looking at a variety of reports around him. There are a number of different sized vessels, glass vessels filled with blood, sitting around him. Like some are jars, some are vases, some are vials, just kind of lining his desk. Over his shoulder, you see a strange creature with a sort of metallic visor where its eyes should be, and just one large kind of camera lens with a sort of glowing green light behind it. And its brain seems to extend into the air behind it, almost like a beehive haircut. So massive kind of ovoid brain coming out of the back of this thing, wearing long robes, similarly steeped fingers, peering very almost bird-like from monitor to monitor, just kind of darting its head around at like a hummingbird, just very quickly at odd angles, and then returning to look at what the archon is working on. So that's sort of to his left. To his right, there is a stunningly beautiful older woman who is drukhari as well, just kind of sitting on the desk with her legs crossed, leaning over his plans, and kind of doing that I'm reading over your shoulder thing, and occasionally she'll point at something with kind of one long lithe finger, hair pulled back into like a long gray ponytail, wearing what look to almost be the equivalent of civilian clothes here, but again, like the civilian clothes are all spooky because drukhari, but just a fine, like deep purple, almost a suit. She's got an odd Xenos rose type flower pinned into her lapel. And she has just a bit of scarring kind of beneath her, the corners of her lips. So kind of from the corner of her lip to her chin, just a small kind of patchwork of scars in like full makeup and very, very done up. You also see two large, horrific creatures kind of curled up almost like dogs, but in a low crouch, similar to a library lion in New York or something, kind of that lion in Repose Peace. Their faces are flat like shovels and have a variety of little black eyes in them, kind of like it's got a bony... flat shovel face, kind of bony ridge. They are just an off-putting gray into kind of a palish white, long sinewy arms, a little bit. The bodies think like an armored version of the hand guy from Pan's Labyrinth. So just kind of like or the Demigorgon from Stranger Things. So just kind of crouched there, sitting. They both have collars around their necks. That have like little spikes on them, but not in like a spooky way, but in like I bought this at a pet store way, and are just sitting there. One of them is kneading the ground, leaving small track marks from its claws, and the other is just staring kind of impassively at you.
Making biscuits.
Sorry?
That's what it's called. When the cat does, it's called making biscuits.
Making biscuits, yeah. Just making little space biscuits.
Evil space biscuits.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then most concerningly, well, maybe not most concerningly, but deeply concerningly, is behind him, there are two Slith bodyguards. So these are snake people. They have long, snaky bodies, so very reptilian from kind of the waist down. 4 arms. Their faces are, again, vaguely snake-like, a little more pug-nosed than a snake. Like they don't have the cool viper kind of situation. It's kind of like if that got smushed back. The Jeffries of vipers, if you will. Just a little smushed face kind of situation. Heavily armored.
It cuts at your heart, Gideon, knowing Jeffrey is behind. This has two Jeffries. You have none.
Heavily armored, bandoliers across the chest, pair of swords at each of their hips. And they seem to have the logo of the Cabal of the Bloodied Sand tattooed into their foreheads. Valentyne, you would know of Slith just as
mercenary scumbags.
Mercenary scumbags. They're around. It would be, I think, of note to you that these have the Cabal insignia tattooed on them, because that means like a deep brand of loyalty that mercenary bodyguards tend not to have. There are, of course, Cabalite warriors as well, kind of positioned at all four corners. But they're just, on guard. As the elevator doors open, they all turn their shuriken catapults at the door and just kind of like, it's not, like, holy shit, just if you were anyone else, they'd just blast the fucking thing and then probably go kill that Tau secretary. So, doors open and Davos looks up from his writing. He is an athlete in decline, is probably the best way to say it. So similar to a lot of, you see this in Hollywood a lot, but it's also true of bodybuilders or professional athletes, where it's just he's been a finely tuned, musculatured monster for so long that now that he's older and he's not as active, it's just falling apart in kind of a variety of weird ways. You can tell that from the way he holds himself, like from the way he immediately sits up, he's trying to kind of give off an air of being extraordinarily capable. But for Valentyne and Attikus, maybe Morgan, for Valentyne and Attikus, you would recognize his reaction time is slow. For someone who is archons are mighty warriors.
He shouldn't be running in mortal range, like human norm of
100%. So it's slower that it's still like fast and sharp, but it's slow enough that you're able to catch it. And Morgan, I would say for you, and actually Gideon for you as well, because you were a party guy. Both of you would almost recognize this as similar to someone who's intoxicated. Okay. Where it's just like the reaction time, the brain versus body reaction time is out of sync a little bit. So despite this kind of movement, his eyes dart up quickly to you as you enter. And he sort of like sneers a little bit at the sight of four humans deigning to walk into his lair. Says, well. If it isn't, through a voice box, of course, he wouldn't dare to speak the Emperor's Gothic. If it isn't a bunch of humans come here with murderous intent, I understand you're willing to fight my son's arena folks. Is this true?
Yes. I'm Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, here with the Soulstone of Trin Rakai. My band and I are tremendously capable murderers. We wish to see you successful, and the defeat of the other witches, your son's cabal, and ultimately your son, in exchange for access to the warp gate that is being stored inside your citadel.
Oh, did Trin tell you it was a warp gate?
He just turns the thing on with Trin.
Trin, hello. Yes, it's me, Davos. Did you get yourself killed, you fucking idiot? Yes. As expected, you were never the brightest bulb in the box. You can see him just weave a little bit, and then kind of get himself under control. And the woman next to him puts a hand on his shoulder. How are you all reacting to, obviously these are dire situations, but I'm curious of Valentyne knows all business.
Valentine's all business, but he's concerned he made the wrong bet here. Anyways,
I just know exactly what Attikus is doing right now. It is the you thought it was that simple kind of remark just immediately has Atticus's hackles up of is this an ambush? Is this a trap? So he is ready for a fight.
Okay.
But taking his cues from obviously the interrogator and the Inquisitor. But he's eyeing everybody in this room now of like who's going to try and make a move. It feels very much like we walked into an ambush with that kind of arch remark of you thought you could just come in here. So he's gearing up to catch anyone who comes close.
Great.
Gideon, I don't think is capable of participating in like the speaking part of like the repertoire or repartee, but he's going to try and nonchalantly figure out who was giving those big psionic energy. I don't know if it's like is it a super obvious thing when he uses Psioniциans? It doesn't seem to say, but if he can do it
since
in
you
a
already rolled
nondescript.
heavy last episode for it, the lens faced visored robe-wearing creature with the big brain is very clearly giving off like
The big one.
is like burning bright in a room full of darkness.
Yeah.
I will say the slith also, and the two things on the floor, the Urguls who are scratching the floor, all do give off sort of a more standard psionic signature.
Sure.
It's specifically Davos and the woman who are giving off the like jet black drukhari thing. But yes, big brain is
Sure.
lighten up the joint.
I think he would nudge Valentyne in a nondescript way and point at the.
And Morgan?
And Morgan is affecting nonchalance standing there watching this. Toby is a light on her shoulder, and she's looking at the room and the situation because we came out of an elevator. The elevator came right up to this whole office area. So I think Morgan is being very active listening, but looking at the room like, is there trapdoors? Are there other places that people can enter and exit through because we just came up through an elevator? What are the other exits in this room? What are the other, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I'll say there's an exit at the back, the classic like big double doors that are, engraved with a very heroic image of Davos, like shredding someone with a gauntlet, with, rays of majesty coming off his back, carved into these sort of stone doors. But that seems to be the only major entrance or exit. But an immediate look, Morgan, with the amount of paranoia you have and your ability to like find your way into walls and things.
Yes.
Like, oh
what I was
man, this
thinking.
room is trapped to shit.
Perfect.
Like,
That's
it
what
is
Morgan was
just
thinking.
like,
Yes.
there's bullshit all over the
Good
place.
looking out.
It's all concealed enough that you don't know what any of it does, but like, it's that classic thing where you look at the lines of the floor and you're just
absolutely.
like, oh, there are too many lines on this floor.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So with that in mind, the visored recorder faced, like the camera face thing, is I think staring squarely at you, Attikus, although it occasionally flicks to Valentyne. Who would notice that? I think Gideon, you're looking at it, and Valentyne, you're obviously taking things in. Well, these two are a bit distracted. So let's get perception, I guess, from both of you, please. This is difficulty 4 because you're not really sure what's what.
Hard to read a face. It's not made of flesh as well.
Yeah,
I'm
just
sure.
just a camera lens faced thing moving around. Let's see. What can I give you? Gideon, I'm going to give you a boost because I think you would have been watching this thing since you came in, since it'll be like leaving a bit of that after image, like light for you. Valentyne, I'll give you a boost for, I think, just situational awareness. One thing that's darting its head around is...
He's also in field of vision of the desk. Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. I'll give you both a setback for the lack of features on its face. You can't read that. So this is a perception to try and determine what it's doing, basically. Valentyne, you are Hereticus, not Xenos, so you wouldn't have specific knowledge of this thing.
Not if the power is based on its general Xenos nature, but he would be aware of how cults use psychers, if that would apply.
That wouldn't apply here.
Okay.
This is a different thing.
May I build a pool as well then?
Sure.
If we're talking about trying to figure out what this thing is doing, that is, I think, something Attikus would be wanting. Only because he is looking for someone to make a move. We've walked into a trap, and if this thing is like flitting here and there, or is like moving jerkily or sudden moves, that would...
Yep. No, I buy that.
Okay.
And so just to be clear, this thing is a robed figure, kind of like with its hands like its fingers crossed over its stomach, but just the head. Like the body is immobile and the head is just doing rapid gestures, hummingbird style. But yes, I think that's fair. So Attikus, I'll give you the same setback for
I have the setback
lack of human face.
not being able to read its features. I didn't catch the boost, but I don't know that Attikus would have the boost anyway.
No. I'm actually also going to give you a setback because you're looking for active threats.
Yep.
So I think Attikus would be distracted by trying to figure out if there's a gun.
Yeah. Or just even like what can this thing do?
Yeah. Because it's basically, whereas Gideon and Valentyne are just observing and trying to draw conclusions, you're like combat cycling.
Everything he has fought up to this point uses weaponry in some way, like orcs, the Xenos that we've faced off so far, heretics, they all use guns, swords, whatever. This thing has a big brain.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, cool. Let's roll.
4th threat for Attikus.
Yep.
No other results.
Failure and 4th threat for Valentyne.
Yep.
A complete wash.
Whoa.
For Gideon.
Okay.
He's still impressed by the fact that he saw a Tau outside. He's never seen that before in his life.
Yeah, fair. Okay, so nothing for any of you. I think the threat.
I could pitch
Sure.
strain of just at least from Atticus's perspective.
Yes,
this is turning into a
mental
tense
strain. Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, let's do that. We'll do strain for you, and then Valentyne, I think for you, it's going to be that Morgan, without being able to communicate to you, notices that you're standing on one of these panels, having like strode into the room.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry, here's something I keep forgetting about. The devotional icon. Oh, no, that's just for psyker powers.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
You
Not just
also-
for using your eyes.
You also left it behind.
No,
I
he
changed it to
swapped
mask.
it to mask.
Yeah.
Are you wearing the mask now?
I think when we went into the building, he'd probably pop it on. Yeah,
Okay.
I got to do better.
So you're masked. I
Yes.
just want to make sure that I can picture
Admittedly, the drukhari will like you a bit more because you're wearing like
Sure.
a heavy metal mask.
Yeah.
that. And you look less scared.
Yeah. Yes, it hides, I think, when he's...
They spot fear.
Yes.
So Attikus, you'll take strain.
Yes.
I already declared the Valentyne threat. There's an interesting thing we do here, but I'm not going to do it. I'll save it for later. So Valentyne, you're standing on a panel, and take 1 strain. So 3 for the panel, 1 for the strain.
Sure.
Cool. Okay. So you hold out Trinrakai, and he says, Davos, we apologize for our tardiness. I know I sort of had a thing planned with some other folks, but I'm with these guys now, and they are the protectors of my soulstone and such. And if you want to receive the benefits and boons I'd promised you, you'll get them from helping this Inquisitor and his monkeys, not from any of my former associates. So I would recommend you help them, or else you don't get any of the cool shit that was promised. Is that clear enough for you? And Davros just like kind of snarl chuckles a little bit. Says, always the wordy one, our friend Trinrakai. I noticed, Inquisitor, that you turned him and then he began to speak. Can you turn him off as well?
Oh, bam, mutes himself fast, right back in the pocket.
I think I'm coming to like you, Inquisitor. I've always wondered how to shut him up. Yes, your friend Trin had promised me a variety of Eldar weapons and technologies that I can use in the development of my arenas. Admittedly, I could probably get it from other sources, but once you've struck a deal, it is so much better, I think, to cash in on it. I don't know if you're a gambling man, Mr. Inquisitor, but me, I prefer that one pays their debts, whether they be good or ill, and as a result, I do seek to collect on our dear departed friend, Mr. Rakai's promises. However, his compatriots did, in fact, reach out to me after his untimely disappearance. He has been gone for some time, and they were rather concerned that their shadowy doings might be overly delayed. That said, I am a man of my word, and I do believe in a fair bargain, and as a result, I turned them down. I think you will find this means that they have attempted other means of reaching their goal. Then he leans in, he's like, do you know what their goal is? This has been bothering me for some time, and they refuse to tell me.
I believe they are attempting to use the gates to make their way to Mars.
Yes. Well, that would make sense. As I say, Inquisitor, it is far more impressive than a simple warp gate. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Necrons, but it is known as a dolmen gate. It is quite impressive and rare, and something that I have kept in my personal collection for ages, just in the hopes that one day it would be useful, and it would seem now it is to you. Now, how will you be useful to me? I understand that you are somewhat a murderous fellow, and you seek to help me destroy my bastard son. So tell me, Inquisitor, what do you seek to do?
I seek to do whatever is necessary to make sure that you are victorious, whether it involve, shall we say, assassinating your bastard son, whether it's engaging with the witch cult. I am here because we can solve your problem. I don't have a great deal of familiarity with it. What do you need? That's what we want to give you.
Better and better, Inquisitor. You truly are becoming my favorite. And then he kind of looks to his companions and says, with apologies to the current occupants of the room. And like the woman sitting next to him like chuckles and does like the arm down thing. Morgan, can you roll me I would say perception, but we're taking this as kind of your bar knowledge, so I'd also take a streetwise.
Game recognized game. This woman's very capable of pretending to be stupid.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, I'll do the streetwise.
You found the room's Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan does definitely set up that lead. What's the difficulty?
I'm going to say difficulty of 2.
Okay.
Unlike robot face, this is like body language you recognize.
Absolutely.
And even though she's drukhari, she's doing this feels very human to you. So, yeah, difficulty 2 will give you a boost for, again, lifetime of doing this yourself. And a boost for observing it in the bar constantly.
Oh, yeah.
As people attempted to do it to you.
I don't know why, but that was just a very funny laugh response to the idea of doing that as well.
Yeah.
I see the play. I know your game, sister.
Absolutely.
You think you're better than me?
All right, I'm going to roll it. Oh, 1 triumph and 5 advantages.
Hot diggity damn. Mm-hmm. Well, Morgan.
So what's that guy with the brain doing?
His head just explodes.
No, you can use it to learn. Technically, you can spend
it's Del spend. That's how it's
triumph to learn one motivation facet of any character in the encounter. So if you did want to figure out what the brain is doing, you could spend on that. I think the argument I'd make is like, as you start to shift into like trying to observe what people are doing, you just happen to catch out of the corner of your eye a movement that kind of makes sense to you, or I'd be happy to take a pitch. You can do something vital, like getting everyone's attention, or giving one of your friends the chance to do something important. You can fuck with difficulty on next check.
I think it is, especially if this is in reading this lady, whatever Morgan gleams from that, I think because she's seeing Valentyne standing on this plate, and in her mind it's like, I need to protect Valentyne. I think it's whatever this lady is doing or her vibe, it's like Morgan wants to ape that in an effort to be like, see, we're all on the same team. Like, this guy seems like he does a good job of, like, from everything that we've heard, this guy is fair. He didn't go back on the deal with Trin Rakai, even though Trin disappeared for 10 years. So it's like the deal will be solid, but I think it's more like, I want to make sure this person feels like Valentyne is his friend so that he won't even try to fuck us on anything, including stuff in this room.
Okay.
And I feel like whatever that is, Morgan is going to like basically walk up to the desk and sit on the same side of this lady, like on the other side, like doing sort of the same thing that she's doing. Like,
okay.
We're all friends here after all.
And the woman smiles and like turns to you, and immediately like you can feel kind of whatever attention she was putting on him, she immediately shifts to you. And the smile widens a bit, and you rolled a triumph. So yeah, she'll just kind of like reach out and just like tuck a bit of your hair back over one ear, and smile at you and just say, indeed, it would seem that we are. This is nice. It is nice to have friends, no?
Yes.
And she is speaking Gothic, hence the accent. Perfect.
And that Morgan just gives a nod.
And as she's saying this, Davos. It's like, ew, she's speaking your tongue. How very low of her. And like looks around for people to chuckle. Like the Slith are just like
deadpan snakes.
Absolutely nothing.
Snake-faced. Yeah.
The Cabalite guards don't do anything because they're wearing helmets. And he kind of like looks. He catches your eye, Gideon, and just kind of gives you like a.
He looks.
He
One
has
person
no
who
reaction.
probably didn't
He,
want
like,
to.
yeah.
Well, shit. Okay.
He does not want to be part of that look.
Fine. It would seem I am in need of friends, as none are laughing at my jokes today. So yes, welcome. Enjoy my table. Morgan, with your excessive advantage, you can also learn the true goal of a target if they have one. And I think with this woman, it's clear that just like appeasement is the goal.
Okay.
Like just keep him like happy and laughing. And with this little weird moment accepted, like she is his audience normally, which is why he's so lost without someone going, a good one, sir, over his shoulder.
Right. Yeah, I think if I can learn anything else about a target, I want to learn more about Davos being closer physically to him now. What you mentioned about like either intoxicated or just old.
You can
like,
learn a flaw with your two.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Two more advantages. But we haven't had a social span in a while, so it's fun.
Yeah,
to bring
no,
this
I'd
down.
like that.
So for him, you can see now that you're kind of closer and looking over. It's very clear that one of his legs is false.
Okay.
And not in an augmetic. He doesn't have a prosthesis. Sorry, he does have a prosthetic on, but it's not a classic Warhammer. Like, you got 3 pipes in a shoe now. It's he's wearing armor, but it's clear that one of the legs isn't even mechanical necessarily. It's just like it's there for show.
Yeah. And that definitely, not only is that a weakness, but in this case, it's like he really doesn't have a lot of friends or money or anything if he can't even replace that.
He's
So
only got one leg to stand on.
Well, you also get the sense that in a place this leaky, anyone finding out that he's missing a leg would be a tremendously big problem. So he might just kind of be stuck with like
could
what
not
would be
ask for it.
the
right?
equivalent of an
Yes.
old-timey prosthetic, where he likely has like the equivalent of a wooden leg in there, like a jointed wooden leg
Yes.
with a jointed foot. So, it's not like he has nothing, but yeah, just from what you've seen and the way you've heard about things so far, like if word got out that he needed a replacement, that would be a deep problem for him.
Yeah. And I think then Morgan would just, while their conversation continues, turn her attention back to Davros so that like both of these ladies are doing this to this guy of like, hello.
Yep. So he looks back to you, Valentyne, and says, "Yes, I'm having a bit of a problem with my son Sileus. I'm not sure how much you know of our transcendent ways on this planet, Mr. Inquisitor, but not all of us are born. Those who are hold a certain cachet on the planet because we are true born of the female of the drukhari, which is quite a rarity here. Most people are born in horrific vats because, carrying someone to term on a planet such as this requires you to be a raving badass, the likes of which, there are very few. So I had told my son Sileus that this is how he had come to be, but this was, of course, a lie. I grew him in a tube. When he discovered this, his status fell quite considerably, and he got rather mad at me, which has led to our unfortunate parting of the ways. As much as I would like to see the little shit dead, the supreme overlord in his wisdom has decreed that neither of us is to kill the other one, and in fact, if you did it, you would run afoul of him, which is quite unpopular. He is to us as your golden emperor is to you. He is the authority that we answer to and has power that reaches quite deep into this place. I have no doubt that even my esteemed guards would probably kill me if ordered by Vect." Again, no reaction, but I think they're clearly his Attikus. So it's like, oh yeah, no, if the Emperor told Attikus to kill Valentyne, that's a punching. So the only way for me to win back my house, get my stuff, and introduce you to my shiny, shiny dolmen gate would be for you to destroy the cult of the Jaded Blade before they arrive at the arena. We are having a rather large game tonight. I regretfully have put all of my eggs in the basket of the Cult of the Beckoning Thorn, who were previously quite impressive and now are on a bit of a decline, having suffered several rather embarrassing losses of late. Unfortunately, I have associated myself so deeply with them, I could not change teams. I need you to kill the other team before it reaches the arena, for if it does, I fear I shall lose. I shall lose not only my house, but likely my life, and I am rather attached to that. So if you seek the gate, you must assist me in this. I guarantee you if you go to Sileus with a similar offer, he will backstab you so fast your head will spin. And that would be such a shame given the, and he gestures to Morgan, says, assets that you have in your band.
This all makes sense to me. Where is the location of the Cult of the Jaded Blade? What travel route do you believe they will take to the games? If you can give me a map and point out a good kill zone, I look forward to entering the zone and being the only person walking out of it.
And he smiles broadly and says, "It is a shame about your genetics, Inquisitor. I suspect in another life we could have been great friends. You would have maybe been able to replace that one." And he points at one of the slith guards over his shoulder and says, "I call him Jerry. You could have been my new Jerry, but unfortunately our paths will diverge. You are quite a blessing in disguise. Here," and he just slides you, literally, you're looking down at his desk, you realize that all of the paper, it's like someone just doodling like hearts in the corners of the note. He has just been drawing kill plans. Says, "My hands have been tied, but I have been thinking about this for some time, Inquisitor, so if you would be so good as to make good on this, I would be very happy to share the gate with you." So he hands you a map and calls over one of the slith guards, who comes over and with one of the hands like adjusts the voice box repeatedly and badly and like speaks a variety of different Xenos languages at you before finally getting like, it's like tries one and then people have to keep being like, keep going. It's a little bit like the you're on mute on Zoom thing where it's just like he just keeps trying, finally gets it. It says, "Our archon has arranged for a ship to crash into a rather key passageway between two parts of the higher city. In order to reach the arena, the convoy will have to go through this particular choke point. The destruction of this ship will cause the bridge to open and be shut down for maintenance. During this time, there will be enough chaos that you should be able to take up positions on the bridge, seize control of it if you see fit, and ambush the group on their way. They will be transported by raider. These are ships of the drukhari design. Are you familiar with them?"
Vaguely.
"They are open-topped skiffs. There will be 3. They are heavily armed. There will be jet bikes operating as an escort. Several well-placed shots should cause chaos. Control of the bridge should cause chaos. There are a variety of rooftops nearby, and if the skiffs are damaged, the cult will have no choice but to leap off onto the ground which you can control. If we were planning this attack, this is where we would strike."
I agree with all of the above. The only thing I have to request is, do you have a ranged weapon that would be capable of dealing with a skiff? We have a sniper rifle, which is excellent for anti-personnel work, but to take down one of your ranged vehicles at distance is currently beyond our equipment.
And Davos turns to Morgan and gives her like these guys, right? Just very much like he's got the same feeling you had, Valentyne, coming in of like, I don't know if I picked the right horse, but he's throwing it to you.
Yeah.
And the woman next to him, like, smile gets wider, but eyes get narrower.
Yeah, and Morgan's doing back like the shoulders and like a flirty like, "I know, I don't understand him either."
Tell me, Inquisitor, who is it for?
The weapon?
Yes, who will be using this? I hope you're not going to give it to the man with the big fist. I think he'll just break it, or this scared-looking mask-wearing fellow.
No,
will you be doing the shooting?
Morgan's gonna put out her hand and gently touch Davos's hand and say, "I have very skilled hands."
Can you roll I think it's got to be a charm.
That's not good for her.
Okay. Well, I'd take it as coercion then if you want.
I can't get deception because I don't actually like this guy and I'm lying about
But you
not
do have
being
talent.
into...
You're good at shooting.
damn it.
Yeah, no, I take deception. That's fine. Yeah. I'll take deception for the tone.
Thank you. And also me being like, haha, Valentine.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's a good point.
He's not. I don't
love you.
understand
You're
him,
so
and he's
handsome.
incapable.
You're so handsome and smart.
I love your fake leg.
I know. Kill them all.
Hey, what's that fake leg
Okay, what's the difficulty?
Difficulty of 3. I'll give you a boost for everything you've kind of done to this point to put yourself in this position to kind of succeed at this.
Great. I'm taking my boost for when I'm lying.
Yep. Yeah.
My liar boost.
I'm going to give you a setback for the other woman, though, because she is
Not into this.
she's not
That's
into
fair.
this and can create
I
like.
just took her whole shtick and I'm rolling it out in
Yep.
front of him again.
You're fucking
Yeah.
with the head hen.
I don't have pointy ears. You like that? I don't know.
How do you feel about round?
Look at how
I
clean
don't
my
know.
back is.
This is all happening so
This
fast.
is the freshest back.
Baby got back.
You want to see the inside of my clown suit?
Yeah.
I heard clone.
Valentine, would you be locked on Davros or would you be locked on this woman?
Oh, Valentine's completely focused on Davros. That's the guy who's given him the ability and has the. If this woman has to play to Davros's ego, then Davros is the one who matters.
Yep.
She hasn't directed any of his decisions. If he saw Davros talk a lot of shit and then she touches his arm and then he decides, then he'd assume there was a pattern. But this seems like Davros is in charge.
Yep.
He's going to let Morgan play this out, and if she blows it, then he's the one taking the shot. Is what he's going to say.
Sure.
All right.
Go for it.
2 successes, 2 advantages.
Yeah.
Noise.
All right. So, yeah, you can learn a strength or flaw of the targeted character if you so desire. Or I'm happy to hear other pitches for your social advantage. But yes, he nods and says, well, if talented hands are going to be using it, yes, I think we can hook you up with some gear. Also, it would not do for you to just fire non-armor piercing rounds off the side of we make very good vehicles here. So I don't want you fucking it up. It's very vitally important. Also, I'm pretty sure that if it goes well, then the Supreme Overlord might be more forgiving of me ruining the arena event he is hosting. But if it is messy or any of them get away, we'll be rather in the shit. So yes, we will hook you up with an anti-personnel weapon. Do you require something that is more suited to your Terran weapons, or would you like one of ours?
I'm certain that your weapons would be much more powerful than our Terran ones.
They are, but I also believe in a craftsperson having the tool they need. So tell me, are your talented hands better at using your Imperium weapons, or do you want something fancy from us? And the woman is giving you like a look like this is an important question to answer. You're not sure whether that's true or not, but that's the look she's giving you.
Can I use my advantage to get more information about this?
Yeah.
Good call.
Yes. Okay. He is legitimately concerned that you won't know how to fire. Again, like in his eyes, you might be a hot monkey, but you're a monkey.
Right.
So he's really worried that if he hands you something like an Eldari weapon, that you're just going to get there and like the kick is going to fire badly and everything else. So he's trying to let you save face, but is also genuinely concerned that giving you one of his guns is going to be bad.
Yeah. And
she is just bullshitting you. She's just trying to make you feel feels.
Right. And I think it's just, well, that's the thing between all of the stuff that we've learned about the Eldari stuff. It's like Attikus can use the shield. They upgraded her weapon and it still works well. And to her, it's like, I think that their own weaponry would probably be better. So I'm going to just lean into that of like, why don't you give me the best you've got?
Cool. Okay, yes, we will hook you up with one of our more powerful weapons. It is nice to see that someone of your species can be so open to the idea of drukhari things. And like literally, like you hear just in the back of her throat a sigh. Eyes don't roll, but like they should be. Meanwhile, the thing with the lens has leaned forward across the table and has turned Batman style, because like it's kind of the neck and head thing aren't great, so a little bit of the Keaton lean, and is just staring at the woman through this whole exchange.
Oh boy.
Yep.
When Morgan accepts the Xenos weapon, I think Gideon would take his eyes off the camera thing and just glance over at Valentyne and see if there's any reaction.
None whatsoever.
Nothing,
Valentyne is focused on, he's looking at the kill plan. The weapon being received is enough. You watched him watch her until it was agreed that it'd be given to her. And then you can see he's just looking at the plan, watching Davos, looking at the plan. Those are his two focuses.
Sure.
Great. So he says, we will be providing you with a weapon I believe in Gothic you refer to as a dark lance. It would be comparable to one of your larger flashlights. I believe you call them las cannons. So you will need to prop it on something before you fire it, because I wouldn't want your delicate shoulders to be ripped from your body. This is why I was warning you about these things. But I trust between you and your compatriots you will have no trouble getting this set up. It should cut through the armor rather effectively.
Thank you very much for your kindness and the warning.
Quite. Do you require any rest or sustenance before you set out? I don't want anyone fighting on an empty stomach.
We ate in the Black Library. We are good. Thank you.
You came from the Black Library.
We are tremendously interesting creatures.
Shit. Well, I look forward to you bringing all of that interest and homicide to my idiot son's team. Good luck, Mr. Inquisitor. I trust you will get this done quickly and effectively.
The Emperor wills it, so it shall be so.
Right.
This episode of the Valentyne Heresy features the voices of players Ryan LaPlante, Tyler Hewitt, Josh Halbot, and Del Borovic, alongside Game Master Tom McGee. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and the Valentyne Heresy's artwork was created by Del Borovic at delborovic.com. That's DELBOROVIC.com. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ad breaks use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR. All of their music is available at freemusicarchive.org. For all things Dum-Dums and Dice, including merchandise and how to join our Patreon, you can visit dumdumdice.com or find us on social media at dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics.
Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christopher Little, George Dolby, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Flynn1138, Alarain Okapi, Schrodinger's Pepper, Madre de Gatos, Lady Maiden, Nithrian, Garbo Ape, Sam Schaefer, Waffle Marine, Dagger Rain, Rob L, Dia De Los Hoodless, Squishy Werewolf, Remy Funky Head, Accent Therapeutic Services in Florence, Kentucky, Lael, Shulzari, The Long Family, Jordan Oliver, Richard Wright, Brittany Fenwick, Alex Parr, Dragonfly, Megan Werner, A Man Out of Time, Curtis at FingerTechRobotics.com, Panda24NN, Shendra D, Your Homeboy Bones, Ellis Hatch, Odigenous, Beef Not Cheese, Kai Koa, Squire Solaire, Sandy Sassy Pants, Adam, Amira Lockhart, James Molina, Nick Hemsing, Alex LaFountain, Mickey Blake, Seth Cambron, Corpse Knight Silver, Adam Mir 101, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.